Hey everybody, what's up? It's Ree or Rebel Inks Art here with today's Creative Corner. Now, originally when I was figuring out what I wanted to do for today's Creative Corner, I had a plan that I'd had kind of on the back burner for a couple weeks, and I decided that this week was finally the time to try it. However, as I was getting all my different stuff pulled up in order to start on the video I had planned, I realized that I don't know what I'm saying. I got stuck in my own head there for a second. I was browsing through Tumblr while kind of waiting for everything, like my recording system to load up, and I saw that everybody's doing this Monster Girl challenge, this 30-day Monster Girl challenge where there's a set of 30 prompts, you draw one a day, and I immediately fell in love with it. So I'm going to be doing this for the next 30 days. Don't worry, I'm still going to be doing the regular relearns and the character design challenge, along with the Creative Corner. However, I wanted to take this this Creative Corner just to show you a kind of regular speed version of our very first prompt Harpy, along with kind of explaining how these things are going to go down. So I'm going to be doing this challenge, and because it's not a challenge enough for me already, I am kind of setting my own personal goals for it as well, where I'm going to be doing all of these characters in lineless art, because that is something that I've always struggled with and I've always wanted to work on more. So I figured that this was a good time to kind of, forgive me little bird girl, but kill two birds with one stone. And along with that, I'm going to be challenging myself to make them not just cute, but also to make them at least a little bit scary. Because I do find myself, in the end, straying towards making everything, like, very cute, very pretty. And I would like to challenge myself to get a little better at doing things kind of monstrously. So that is my little challenge for myself, and the way I'm going to be doing this is I'm going to be recording whenever I draw these throughout the week, and then on every Saturday we're going to see a collection of the pictures that I did throughout the week in a nice little speed paint. I'm not going to record audio for it because already I'm a little worried that this is going to be a bit of a bite bigger than I can really handle, but I'm going to try for it anyways. So it's just going to be video of me doing these things with some funky fresh music, so no commentary, but I'm going to be doing just these different challenges and sharing them with you guys while still doing regular videos. So I hope you guys are ready for this. I'm definitely pumped for this, just because I always need more practice doing this kind of thing. So yes, I guess now I get to talk about the actual drawing that I'm doing in this video. So as I mentioned before, the first prompt for this challenge is the prompt Harpy. So I've drawn quite a few Harpies in my time. I love birds so much, and along with that I love ladies. So it was just a wonderful combo of things I adore, and as that's the case, they've wound their way into my work a lot. And so because of that, I wanted to kind of challenge myself, to go beyond my regular comfort zone. So I put, the first thing I knew I wanted is I wanted to draw her in Qui Lolita. Whoops, sorry about that. I was just feeling very inspired to mess around with Qui Lolita. It's something I've only drawn once before, but it's a fashion style that I'm deeply in love with. If you're not familiar with it, it's kind of a classical Chinese-inspired take on Lolita, and it's so gorgeous. It's so pretty. I would highly recommend Googling it. There's just some absolutely incredible work that comes out of it. And so from that, I kind of decided that I wanted to have a kind of entertainer-inspired Harpy, kind of like a songbird character. And with that, I kind of headed into it. I wanted her to feel very eerie while still being very drawing. Like, you wanted to go and listen to what she was saying, but you also kind of knew that you weren't going to come out of it alive. And that was kind of what I headed into with this. I decided pretty early on that I wanted to give her a mask because I felt like it would give her a nice eerie vibe, and also I tend to make them too cute and young in the face, and so I figured this was a nice way to kind of get myself out of that make them pretty kind of vibe that I find myself falling into. So heading into it with some very rudimentary lineless work. I've always struggled with doing lineless work. It's an art style that I absolutely adore, and I've always felt intimidated by because I depend very heavily on my line art. It's kind of my little safety blanket, so it's going to be challenging to try working without it. However, I'm really excited for this opportunity. Doing the underside of her dress with a nice cream color to contrast the blue. Oh, and I don't think I mentioned it yet, but I decided to make her a budgie just because I recently spent a lot of time in a PetSmart longing over the budgies they had in there because they were on sale for $20 and I could have bought like 50 birds. That's an exaggeration. I don't have that much money, but I could have bought a lot of birds, and I just kind of fell in love with those little blue budgies that had like the black and white, and then their whole body is a light blue, and they've got the dark blue spots on their face, and I don't know, just staring at those birds for like a good 30 minutes, I fell very deeply in love with them. And also, I knew I needed to not do a parrot harpy because that is my go-to. I love parrots more than any other bird, and I knew that if I didn't try and figure out some different bird to go to, I was gonna just end up making another parrot harpy. And so I went with budgie just because I figured it would be a fun color palette to mess with, and I had a ton of fun with it. We see a lot of the different markings that budgies have on their face kind of reflected in the mask. One of the parts I had the most fun with this, and I wasn't expecting it, but doing the hair in a lineless art style was so much fun, and I'm really looking forward to messing with that more. There's a lot more opportunity to do like individual hairs. I tend to not do that as much in my normal style because with the line art it just gets really clunky and feels way too weighed down, but there's something about doing it like this that really just gives you the freedom to mess around with things. Here we are heading in with those wings. I wanted to keep them pretty simple, but I didn't want them to just be like blocks of color, so I was doing my best to add texture without weighing it down too deeply. Adding on that first little layer of feathers that we see on the budgies. I had to do a lot of Googling to find a photo of the inside of a budgie's wing. Thankfully, it wasn't as hard as I was worried about. When a bird has like a particular part of them that everybody knows is beautiful, that's kind of all you can find photos for, so it was a little rough finding. Like if you want to see a reference photo for the inside of a parrot's wing, it's going to be a lot harder because the outside is what's the beautiful part. That's what everybody wants to photograph, so sometimes you can run into little challenges like that, but thankfully, I had a bit of luck in finding the kind of photo that I needed for this. Now with the wings, the long feathers on them, I simplified them a bit more than the regular wings are. So the color patterns I know aren't exactly correct, but I'm happy with how they turned out. So we'll just chalk it up to her being a funky bird and call it a day. And here we are doing them feets. Her legs are more eagle than anything, but I figured because harpies are creatures of prey, it worked out. And then throwing on a nice little background, went with some red to kind of stand out against the blue. Messed around with the idea of flowers before scrapping that because I was tired. And finishing things up, here we have that finished illustration. I very much love how she turned out. I think she's very cute. I think she's very spooky. And even though I know I could have made her spookier, I think she's still kind of a step in the right direction, and I'm looking forward to how much spookier I can get as this challenge progresses. So yes, once again, I'm going to be uploading the recordings on how I do each week's prompts on Saturdays. Regular videos are going to continue like normal. I hope you are as excited to see these as I am excited to do them. And until I see you again, I love you guys so much. I hope you eat some great food. I hope you make some great art, and I hope you have a lovely day. Bye-bye! I love you!